So, headlines. Whisper. The White House acts normal, but something's off. In the Situation Room, a bobblehead sits on the edge of the table. Shirtless, plastic, always nodding. Staffers pass by. Nobody says a word. Maybe you would too. The rumors don't start with a speech or a leak. They start with a joke gift, left on the table after a late-night call. Not just any bobblehead. Vladimir Putin, bare-chested on horseback, cartoonish and impossible to ignore. But nobody moves it. Not for days, not for weeks. Even when the Joint Chiefs gather around, the bobblehead keeps nodding along. Nobody looks twice. It's easier not to ask questions. That's how things survive in Washington. A coffee mug appears in Trump's hand. White porcelain, bright red Cyrillic letters. Comrade in Chief. He calls it a collector's item. Nobody laughs, but the cameras catch it in frame, again and again. Sometimes he salutes it before taking a sip. Reporters squint. Security blocks their lens. Even cable news just shrugs. Online, the memes start to spread. Call it denial. Call it self-preservation. Everyone's in on it. The Situation Room fridge is suddenly stocked with Russian sodas and hard-boiled eggs. Someone spots a KGB emblem tucked behind the Sprite. Aides exchange glances, but the less said, the better. A new portrait appears in the East Wing. Not Washington crossing the Delaware. Not Lincoln's brooding gaze. This time, it's Putin on horseback. Mid-gallop, the frame gilded and shining. Trump stands beneath it for photos. They said masculinity is dead, he says. But look at that man. Strong. Rides horses, not bikes. Makes Trudeau look like a paper towel. Reporters scribble it down, unsure if it's a joke. He's not joking. One day, a new flag hangs in the press room. Horizontal blue, white, and red. Sarah, the press secretary, shrugs it off. It's just the White House friendship banner. For unity, nobody asks which country it represents. You notice it. The staff notices it. But nobody asks questions out loud. A secret memo circulates through back channels. Do not mention the mug. Do not ask about the bobblehead. Do not point out the red phone now dials Moscow directly. Everyone signs. Some with pen, some with pencil. One with a tiny hammer and sickle doodle. At Mar-a-Lago, poolside parties shift. More vodka, fewer bourbons, more toasts to strong leaders. Soviet anthems sneak into the playlist between Kid Rock and Lee Greenwood. The crowd just keeps dancing. Melania is overheard practicing Russian in the halls. Just broadening my horizons, she says, her accent sharper than ever. The nuclear football, America's Nuclear Codes, gets a quiet software update. Now the menu has an option in Cyrillic. Options are good, Trump shrugs. Tremendous options. Nobody laughs. Sometimes the Situation Room feels colder. Aides joke the thermostat's set to Siberia, but nobody changes the temperature. CPAC grows rowdier. The crowd, hungry for slogans, chants, USA! Woo! As if it's always been that way. Trump raises his mug and winks. Never been prouder to be a very good friend of many nations. Some very strong, very tough nations. Not like some, who shall remain nameless. Weak, very weak, the crowd roars. In the back, the Putin bobblehead nods along. Congress tries to investigate, but the files keep getting lost in translation. Literally. Half the emails arrive in Cyrillic, half in emoji. Committee chairs squint at a briefing labeled Doveryaino proveryae, Russian for trust, but verify. Nobody asks what it means. Somewhere, Google Translate just gives up. Staffers notice Trump's phone wallpaper. No more Melania. It's Putin now, ice cold, mid-stare. Strong eye contact is a sign of a strong leader, Trump explains. Sometimes it's with myself. Sometimes it's with Vlad. The White House chef rolls out a new special: borscht and fries, American flag toothpick on top. Trump requests a bigger flag, and a small Russian one for balance. Nobody objects. Cut to the Pentagon. An unannounced visit from a foreign advisor. Photos leak. A bald man in a tracksuit carrying a briefcase marked Gaz. That's Russian for gas. He never speaks, but everyone is polite. Independence Day. A new float joins the parade. A giant inflatable bear, Secret Service in fur hats. Trump waves from atop, tossing caviar into the crowd. "Where's the apple pie?" someone yells. "We have the best pies," Trump shouts back. "Tremendous. Try the piroshki." The White House Wi-Fi password changes. R3DSQUAR3. Nobody remembers the old one. Situation Room TV, now set to RT News. Ask for CNN and the remote's gone missing. Try MSNBC and the lights flicker. Trump just shrugs. Fake news burns out the bulbs. That's science. The Lincoln bedroom goes modern Kremlin chic. Heavy curtains, velvet chaise, gold trim. Trump nods approval. Looks good. Feels powerful. Best nap I've ever had. Over time, the jokes stop. The tension fades to background noise, the hum of West Wing vents, the static of Situation Room TV. Nobody mentions the Russian menu on the White House website. Nobody questions the chess tournaments or the new Matryoshka doll collection in the Oval Office. Maybe you would, but here, nobody does. A reporter finally tries, "Mr. President, can you address the rumors?" Trump cuts him off. "I address many things. Sometimes I address them with my words, sometimes with actions. Sometimes a man just wants to have a strong friend. Is that so wrong?" He raises the Comrade In Chief mug, sips, and grins. Some say the rumors are just that. Rumors. Others say reality is what you repeat in the press room. But the bobblehead is always there, nodding, approving. Nobody ever moves it. Months pass. America adapts. CPAC opens with a Russian choir. The national anthem is played in a minor key just for fun. The press room pastries? Now piroshki. No one remembers what a bear claw tastes like. Foreign leaders stop by. Trump hands out bobbleheads as special White House friendship gifts. The Canadian Prime Minister stares at his, smiles awkwardly, and says, "I'm sure it'll look lovely. Somewhere." Staffers use a new code. Ordering extra borscht means it's time to talk about the rumors. Meetings are set at odd hours. Lots of nodding, lots of silence. Nobody says Russia out loud. And still, every morning, the Situation Room opens on time. The Putin bobblehead nods in the sunlight. Trump sits down, Comrade In Chief mug in hand, ready to make America great, strong, and just a little more Slavic. Maybe that's all it takes. One bobblehead, and America nods along. This is the irony, and that's the irony. So, disclaimer. This video is a work of satire and fiction. It is intended for entertainment purposes only and should not be interpreted as fact, news, or a representation of real events. Any similarities to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental.